and gentlemen, my name is Sarah, and tonight I want to talk to you guys about bullying. This is John Carmichael. He was just like any other boy. Sure, he was small for his age, but he was a good student and well-liked by friends. However, his small stature is what his bullies at school would use against him. They would push him around, shove him in lockers, and constantly torment him on his size. He had been bullied for years and decided in the late evening of March 29, 2010, at the young age of 13, that he couldn't take their endless ridicule anymore. He hung himself in his family's barn, where he scratched his suicide note onto the wall using his finger. It read, "Mom and Dad, I love you. I'm so sorry." A week before his suicide, John was thrown into a trash can in front of his peers and his teachers. But teachers failed to intervene, and his peers were frightened to speak up in fear of becoming the bully's next victim. John Carmichael was just one of the 3.2 million students who are bullied each year. He was bullied for something he did not even have any control over. Imagine if just one person stood up to those bullies. Imagine if a teacher kept a close watch on John and made sure that he knew he wasn't alone. Would it have made a difference? Would he still be with us today? I believe that as Christians, it is our job to be a voice for the voiceless and to have courage to stand up for what is right. We must take a stand against bullies and put a stop to the negative effect that children and teens must live with due to the endless harassment by their peers and authoritative figures. Statistics reflect 1 out of every 4 students reports being bullied during the school year. Yet, 64% of bullied children do not report it. Of the 36% that do report it, 55% said that they were bullied because of their looks, 37% said they were bullied because of their body shape, and 16% were bullied about their race. The bullying percentage varies depending on the demographics of the students. Children with disabilities, for example, were 2 to 3 times more likely to be bullied than their non-disabled peers. And they are more concerned with school safety and being injured or harassed compared to students without a disability. Students who are being bullied about their race are more likely to suffer from the negative effects that are associated with being bullied. And with the popular topic now being the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community, it is no surprise that there has been an increase in the bullying of students who are members of this community. 81.9% of students who identify as LGBT were bullied last year, solely based on their sexual orientation. And 31.8% of LGBT students missed at least one entire day of school in the past month because they felt uncomfortable or unsafe. Also, 90% of teens who have been bullied online have been bullied offline as well, and 84% of students have witnessed overweight students being teased during physical activities. When some think of bullying, they probably think of something that you would see in a coming-of-age movie. However, there are many different types of bullying. The 4 main types include physical, verbal, emotional, and cyberbullying. Physical bullying is the most obvious form of bullying. In this type, the instigator attempts to physically dominate the other person. This usually includes kicking, punching, and other physically harmful activities designated to instill fear in the one being bullied. When someone verbally bullies another, he or she uses demeaning language to tear down another's self-image. Bullies who use verbal techniques excessively tease others with means of belittling the victim, and use a great deal of sarcasm with the intent to hurt the other person's feelings or humiliate the other team in front of people. Emotional bullying is even more subtle than verbal bullying. This particular type of bullying has the goal of making someone feel isolated and may even prompt depression. Cyberbullying has become more and more prevalent in this generation of teens. This type of bullying uses social media and texting to humiliate and embarrass others. This can be especially devastating for people being bullied, for they cannot even find a safe place in the virtual world. Physical and verbal bullying is more common among males, and emotional and cyber is more common among females. It is important to be aware of these different forms of bullying so that we can make sure that, for one, we ourselves are not harassing others in any of these ways, and 2, so that we can identify victims and bullies and put a stop to the actions taking place. According to the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, almost half of all children will experience school bullying. Child bullying can lead to stunted emotional and social growth. The effects of bullying on a child and teen can make life an everyday struggle. Researchers have discovered a link between bullying and depression that can also extend to other problems, such as low self-esteem, anxiety, high rates of school absences, and physical illnesses. Victims of cyberbullying are more likely to suffer from low self-esteem and suicidal thoughts. Students who are both targets of bullying and engage in bullying are at greater risk for both mental health and behavior problems that students who only are bullies or are only bullied will not. Likewise, students who bully are more at risk for academic problems, substance use, and violent behavior in adolescence and adulthood. Bullying may even cause the target of the bully to act out in order to get revenge. For example, 12 out of 15 school shooting cases in the 1990s were caused by students who had been bullied. I'm pretty sure many of you have heard of the famous Columbine high school shooting, and the shooting took place by 2 students that attended that high school. It is known that those 2 students were victims of bullying on a daily basis. Children, teens, and even adults need to learn that what they say can leave a lasting impression on a person's life. While it has been proven that bullying can lead to suicide, some still do not view bullying as a life-threatening issue. There are several different reasons that ultimately can lead to bullycide, including the following: being constantly physically and emotionally bullied, experiencing constant and physical emotional pain, having to continually relive an embarrassing moment over and over that is constantly brought up by peers as a method of torment, being the victim of bullying by authoritative figures, and having no friends or anyone to rely on. Bully victims are 2 to 9 times more likely to commit suicide than non-victims. Amanda Brownell was one of those bully victims who attempted to take her own life due to bullying from her peers. Amanda was an actor, singer, dancer, member of the marching band and school color guard, a gymnast, a musician, and a soccer player. She was an avid member in her youth group and a well-liked face in her church. Her home life was happy and she had friends at school. It is no surprise that many were shocked when they heard that she used the cloth cord from her hooded sweatshirt to hang herself in the school restroom on December 11, 2008. She barely survived and is today a paraplegic living in a nursing home in San Jose, California. After much assistance, she can now breathe on her own, open her eyes, wiggle her hands and feet, and hold her head up herself. After her suicide attempt, her parents went through her phone and found thousands of disturbing text messages from girls in her school falsely accusing her of being a lesbian and having AIDS that she was intentionally trying to spread. Since Amanda's attempted suicide, none of the girls believed to have been involved in the bullying have stepped forward to apologize. Now, Amanda's mom travels the country to share Amanda's story and to raise awareness about bullying and suicide. It seems ironic that in Amanda's suicide note she wrote, "I bet nobody is going to remember my name after this." Bullying is without a doubt a global issue. Everywhere there is human population, there will most likely be bullying. In Japan and South Korea, bullying has mostly to do with social exclusion. Often, an entire class will isolate one student and exclude him or her from all social gatherings. Indonesia, the most socially networked country in the world, has the most cyberbullied children in the world. Over half of the adults have reported knowing a child who had been bullied online. Canada, like the US, has taken a zero-tolerance approach to bullying, while countries in Europe and Australia have taken the problem on as an education issue that requires both training for the bullies and those being bullied. And anti-bullying measures developed in the Nordic countries are broadly viewed as the gold standard. Norwegian researcher Dan Olis has developed one of the most popular to date. Now, a new type of anti-bullying program out of Finland is generating significant interest among bullying experts worldwide. Known as Kiva, the program aims to involve all students and teachers in tackling bullying, including bystanders. The results have been so promising that 90% of schools in Finland have implemented the program. At Kansas University, a group of researchers are currently trying to launch the Kiva program in the US. In the United States, there are state laws against bullying. Although many have suggested that there be national laws against bullying, there has been no such luck. As of early 2015, all 50 states have state laws against bullying. California's law covers certain groups such as association with a person or group with one or more of these actual or perceived characteristics: disability, gender, gender identity, gender expression, nationality, race, ethnicity, religion, and sexual orientation. Many of the laws are under education codes, and if a student is found guilty of violating one of these codes, he or she is subject to suspension or expulsion. Some may assume that because we attend a Christian school, the students of Faith Christian do not come in contact with bullying. However, they are very wrong. I took a survey of all the students on our high school campus. 64% of students of Faith Christian, grades 7 through 12, would consider themselves victims of bullying. Looking closer at the percentages by gender, we find that the highest percentage of girls who have been bullied is 88% of girls from the sophomore class, and the lowest grade with girls who have been bullied is juniors, with a percentage of 60. The statistics of girls who consider themselves bullies is highest in the freshman class with 40%, and lowest in the senior class with 0. For boys on the secondary campus, the class with the highest percent of bullied boys is the 7th grade with 75%, and the lowest is the juniors with 33. For boys who have bullied others, the senior class has the highest with 83%, and the 7th graders come in last with 25. The numbers for those who have been bullies are mostly much lower than the grade average for those who would consider themselves a target of bullying. This could be stemmed from the fact that sometimes you just don't know that you are being a bully. What could just be a joke to you could be pointing out someone else's greatest insecurity. It is important, especially at a Christian school, that we make others feel like they have the freedom to be themselves here without being ashamed. When I asked the students, what do you think is the main source of bullying at Faith Christian, I got mainly 2 responses. The first was human nature, people being people, it's just how teens are, etc. Is that really a justifiable excuse? Human nature? It's also human nature to commit murder, is it not? That wouldn't set the murderer free in court if he said that what he did was simply human nature. The second response I got from several students throughout all the grades was cliques. One student said that people get in groups and attack others verbally with put-downs and make what others think is cool seem lame. Another said, people get in groups and mess with students who are more alone than others. We need to learn to be more inviting and not persecute those who do not agree with everything we say. It's sad to think that even in our small family of Faith Christian, there is bullying going on. Students here should be happy to come to school every day and know that these hallways are a safe place for them to be themselves. It is important that we spread God's light to one another and not exclude those who are not exactly like us. All the churches contacted for the research of this paper agreed that bullying is not okay. From Eastern Orthodox to Methodist, there is no doubt that we need to be Christ-like in behavior and treat others how we want to be treated. Deacon Keith Forner of the Roman Catholic Church said, "Here is the real culprit. We have lost the sense of dignity of every human person as an unrepeatable gift from God. People are now objects of use, properties, not persons." Friar John Gillians of the Eastern Orthodox said that bullying is evil, and in reference to bullies said, "But above all, and this is a hard saying, we are called to follow Christ and love the very person who brings you the most distress." For in Matthew 5:44 it says, "But I say to you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which spitefully use you and persecute you." Robbie Balbo, youth pastor of the First United Methodist Church in Stephenville, Texas, said that if unaddressed, bullying tends to have a domino effect. You get picked on in a situation where you're weak, but you may be able to go somewhere else where you are stronger and take it out on someone. The Protestant Church says that we should be like Jesus, who sought out the outcast and the powerless, and taught the critical importance of helping the least of these. The Protestants say that youth and student leaders must strive to keep their gatherings, such as youth groups and schools, a clique-free zone. There are steps we can take to prevent bullying. It is important for schools to create a safe climate for kids to hang out. Teachers should establish ground rules that school is a bully-free zone, and that kids must speak to each other in the classroom in tones of respect and not undermining tones. Bystanders of bullying need to gain the courage to stand up and speak up, instead of staying in the background. As teenagers, there are ways we can get involved in helping put a stop to bullying. Joining a prevention group, such as the local group of Stand for the Silent, is a great way to get involved in helping bullied kids and to help raise awareness of the effects of bullying. It is important to be more than just a bystander when it comes to seeing someone else being bullied. Make sure that you do not encourage the bully by giving them an audience. That means not laughing when they tell a mean, hurtful joke, because that tells them that what they're doing is entertaining, and they will continue to be hurtful to others to get that form of validation. Another way you can be of help is to tell a trusted adult. Nobody wants to be a tattletale, but it's different when you're telling an adult in order to protect someone from being physically or mentally harmed. The best thing one can do is become the friend of the victim. Simply having a small conversation with them every day can let them know that they are not alone. By doing one or all of the above, you are setting a good example for others that will lead to good outcomes. Deuteronomy 31:6 says, "Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you." This should encourage and remind us that the Lord is always with us. Even in our toughest of moments, He will not leave us. He will stand by us through the good and the bad and help us in the darkest of times. For those who are being bullied and need help now, tell an adult who can stop the situation immediately. Remember that you can talk to your parents about what is going on, and they can help you. Talk to your pastor and try to seek guidance from the Bible, and if you need to, I would also suggest going to a counselor for help. Bullying is not okay. It is time that we all become aware of the consequences of our actions. The effects of bullying on children and teens can affect the rest of their lives. As Christians, we must be the light in the world and spread God's love through our own actions. It's as easy as a happy hello or a simple compliment. Be kind to the bully as well, because you never know what's going on in his or her life. You don't always know the full story, but you can never go wrong with being kind and sharing a smile. Thank you. Are there any questions as my two lovely assistants, Dan and Caleb, hand out my microphone?